All right, so I've got some good news for the people that have been watching my leveling up videos, the ones where I'm talking about how I started from wherever I started from, and I'm trying to get to the max level in everything, level 100 in everything except Blue Mage, because that's not level 100, that's like 80. Point is, today's a good day. After many years at this point, we finally have the second level 100, and that is Dragoon, baby. That's right, the little lance wielder. And that's not the only exciting thing about that. Is that the other thing is that when I started leveling Dragoon, I decided in the moment that I'm like, okay, you know what? Here's what I'm gonna do. I think leveling up is a little too easy because I got, Archer up to level 30. That was easy. I got Conjure up to 15. That was easy. So wouldn't doing Dragoon be the same exact thing? Lancer do the exact same thing? I'm gonna switch it up. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna level up Dragoon completely without equipment. Now, I'm gonna need a spear. That's how Dragoons work. You need the weapon at the very least. So the one rule I gave it was I'm allowed to get a better weapon as the challenge goes on. Just to kind of keep it up and maybe the stat gap. Because let's be honest, if I'm trying to fight a level 99 monster and I'm level 98 and I'm still using the basic spear you get, you're never going to win that fight, especially if you don't have any armor on. So that was the rule. I'm allowed to increase the weapon. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I fought a bunch of low level enemies or appropriate level enemies over and over again until I got level 100. What I am going to tell you is that I kind of took the easy way out. What I did was I did Palace of the Dead at the very start, because I started this back in Heavensward when the 200 floor Palace of the Dead showed up. So I was like, oh, I'm going to level up Lancer, and at the same time, I'm going to try to get Necromancer while I'm down there. 2 birds, 1 stone. That didn't work out. Not at all. So I did that, and then the other thing I did, which was something that doesn't require armor, is PvP. So when I took a multi-year long break and I came back, the PvP had added like a battle pass system where you do some PvP matches and you get points for the battle pass. And I'm like, okay, well, hey, you know what? Might as well level up Dragoon right here. It's easy enough, and I don't need armor. So finally, after doing a few seasons of PvP, eventually I got level 100, because it's not hard to get a lot of EXP even when you lose in PvP. Now, just ending the whole thing at that point seems anticlimactic, because there's something that I never did with the Dragoon, and that's I never did the job quests. So I figured, well, I'm level 100. I still got all these quests to do. Let's go back. Let's finish those off, and then finally I can put some armor on this class. Now, what's fun is I started the level 50 quests, so basically 50 to 60, back when I was still like mid 60 range with Dragoons. And then I finished it once I hit 100. So there's like there's going to be this, if you notice at the bottom of the screen, it's going to say for the first couple quests, like 67 or whatever, and then it's just going to jump to 100. So being level 100, first thing I did with my Dragoon is I went to the Occult Crescent and I grabbed the level 100 Phantom weapon that I had available. I don't have the third one unlocked because I'm still working on the 600 crystal sand thing, and once I get that done, then I'll upgrade the spear again. But right now, I'm still just working through the requirement to unlock it. Okay, that's enough of an introduction. What we have now are Dragoon quests. What does that mean? Okay, how is this going to start? First of all, if you are interested in the level 30 to 50 quests, those are in a different video. I already did those. I already posted a video of them. Go check them out. I'll see about putting them in the description if you're interested, but those videos are still very monotone. I'm learning how to do a lot of this stuff. They're not as good as my videos now. So, keep that in mind if you do go back and check them out. But to get us kicked off, we go to Central Coerthas and talk to a guy named Albrecht. Now, Albrecht tells us, which is pretty cool, that, he noticed that Istinian, which was a main character in the story and the Dragoon quest, that Istinian's not bloodlusty anymore. So, and he's like, I'm proud of him. He broke free of Nidhogg's control. That's pretty cool. Which I think is funny, because I'm pretty sure if you do these quests as you get them, and like Dragoon is your main, he will say something different, although I can't prove that. But he tells us that there is some dragons in the area that are running amok, And so he sent some dragoons to go take care of them. But they probably need some help because dragons are dangerous. So he asked us to go and help the dragoons out. So we do. And once we get there, we take care of whatever dragons are left, and we meet another dragoon. Her name is Hestienne. I think that's the name. It doesn't matter because I'm going to be calling her Hess now. Her new name is Hess because it's way easier to say. Now, Hess has apparently seen us when we were doing the level 20 to level 30 to 50 quests, and she's like, "Yo, that dragoon, they're really strong. What makes them different from us? I want to take a look at that." And because of that, she's kind of like, "Okay, hey, you're a much stronger dragoon than I am." And so she asks, "Hey, can I be your student?" And Albert's like, "Hey, don't decide on that just yet. Come finish this quest and we'll get the next quest going." Now we start the next quest and Albrecht is like, "Oh, hey, we're kind of worried about Hess. She said she was going to go out and train by killing some dragons. She's been gone for a while, so can you go and check on her?" And so we do, and by the time we find where she is, we see that she had already killed a bunch of dragons. But that wasn't the only amount of dragons, so we all get jumped by even more dragons after that. She tells us that she came out here because she was trying to practice the moves that we use, like on our hotbar. And she's like, "I don't understand. Like, how are our moves different? Can you go fight another dragon for me so that I can watch you use these moves?" And you do. You go fight a bigger dragon, and at the end of it, Hess is like, "I don't understand. We are using the same exact attacks, the same exact moves, the same exact everything. So how are you different? How are you stronger? How are you stronger?" And so we tell her kind of like, "Well, I'm not just mindlessly attacking the dragon. I'm more using all of everything that I know and trying to be smart about it. So I'm not just wailing on the dragon. I'm trying to beat the dragon. I'm trying to be smarter than the dragon. I'm trying to protect myself as well as other people if they're there." And Hess is kind of like, "Oh, maybe that's it. I've just been wailing on these things. It's no wonder I'm getting my ass kicked." So eventually Hess is like, "All right, look, whatever. Why don't you come with me? I'm going to go home. Come with me. You're cool. I'm going to just come to my house." And we do, and we end up meeting her father. And her father and her talk like they're at odds, right? The dad is like, his name is Monty. Monty's like, "Yo, Hess, you got to stop being so reckless. You're going to hurt yourself." But Hess is like, "Yeah, but Dad, I want to be a dragoon like you. You know, you used to be the guy. You used to go out and kill people, dragons. You used to go out and kill dragons. And like, I just want to be like you." And Monty's like, "Yeah, but I didn't go out there just by wailing on dragons and getting myself hurt. I was smart about it. You got to think about it." And so they're kind of like fighting a little bit, but not really. Either way, we go back to Alberic, and Alberic is like, "Maybe we'll keep an eye on her, just in case." But it's a little bit after that that we're talking to Alberic, and Alberic is like, "Oh, hey, you need to go to Ishgard right now and talk to the dragoons. Apparently, there's this big dragon that's on its way to attack that Hess and her family have been trying to deal with for generations. I think it'd be a good idea for you to lend your hand. That way, you can kind of put that thing to rest." And so we do. We head over to Ishgard. We find Hess and Monty, and they're about to go out to battle. Not Monty. Monty's there for a different reason. Monty's like, "Hey, Hess, look, I've noticed that you're training. You've been getting smarter. You've been getting more deadly. So here, I want to give you something." And he gives them like the family heirloom spear. I think the name is like Peregrine. So he gives Hess Peregrine, and Hess is like, "Oh my god, this is amazing. I'm gonna go kill the dragon that's been fucking with us for years, and I'm gonna use the family spear to do it. This is gonna be a great moment for us." So we head over to where the battle is gonna take place, and we just take out a bunch of dragons, right? Now, I died a couple times on this just because I don't have any armor and I don't really know how to play Dragoon, so I died. But we're going to ignore that and move past that to the point where I do manage to win. And so we kill all the dragons that are showing up, and that's when the dragon that they hate, its name is like Growly. Growly shows up, and you don't get to fight Growly just yet. What ends up happening is Hess gets a little too ahead of herself, and she jumps onto Growly's back with the spear, trying to take it down. But Growly is too strong, and he flies off with Hess on his back. So we go and we tell Monty and Albert. So we go back and we tell Albert and Monty, and they're like, "Oh my god, we got to find her. Do whatever you can." Albert tells us, while we're searching for her, there's these dragon cultists. We need you as a dragoon to go and take care of them. We don't want the dragon plague spreading. So we do that. We go and we take care of the dragon cultists. And while we're there, we actually find Hess tied up and we rescue her. But she starts acting all weird, right? She's like, okay, hey, look, I got some stuff to do. I need you to go tell people that I'm dead, and I need you to kind of just, I'm looking to go kill more cultists. I think it's better if everybody thinks I'm dead. That way I can kind of be sneaky about it. And you're like, oh, that's weird. Why would you, who wanted like all the glory of killing the dragon, to act like none of that happened? So we go back and we tell Monty, it's like, hey, so we found Hess, but the problem is, and this is the point where you actually get to decide whether or not you want to tell him the truth or be like, nah, man, she dead. Sorry. I didn't see much point in that. So I'm like, hey, Monty, yeah, she's fine, but she's being weird, dude. I don't understand what's going on with that. But there's still dragon cultists hanging around, so maybe that's got something to do with it. Eventually, Albert tells us, hey, look, there's these whispers that there's a woman like Hess hanging out in the Chocobo Forest. I need you to go check it out. I'll come with you. And so you go to the Chocobo Forest and you talk to some people and you eventually find her. Hess has been just going around finding and killing as many cultists as she could possibly find. Killing as many cultists as she could possibly find. And it's revealed that like the reason she's being so weird about this, the reason that she's like, why haven't you come home? It's like, I can't. Why not? Well, apparently while she was captured, the cultists forced her to drink a bunch of dragon blood. And the thing about drinking dragon blood is if you drink the dragon blood, you kind of get corrupted in a sense, and so you turn into a dragon. Now Hess is like, I can't go back because with the dragon blood in me, I would be seen as a heretic, and I don't want to put you or my father through that. So I'm just going to chill out here and kill cultists. So she goes off to go kill more cultists, and we go like, well, we got to go tell Monty. Monty deserves to know that his daughter's being blood corrupted, right? So we go and we tell Monty, and he's like, nah, I'm going to find my daughter and I'm going to bring her back home. I don't Dragon blood be damned, that's my daughter, I'm going to save her. And so we eventually get word that Growly is back and Growly is attacking. So we go to fight Growly. At the very least, we can take down Growly. That way Hess and Monty can have that part of their story like rested. So all right, cool, we'll never have to deal with that again. But along the way, we find out that Hess is in the area and she's on her way to where Growly is. So we eventually find both of them just staring each other down, and that's when we get into it. We fight Growly, we take him down, and Monty and Hess are reunited. And Monty's like, hey, daughter, I want you to come home. And she's like, no, I've got blood corruption. I can't go home. And Monty's just like, nah, look, fuck that. You're my daughter. I want you to come home. It's going to be fine. Don't worry about it. And Hess is so like, just like, you're like a really good dad and everything, but I don't want to put you through that danger. So here's what I'm going to do. I will come home, but not right away. I'm going to figure out how to either purge this dragon blood or make sure that it never becomes a problem in the future. And once I figure out both of those things, then I'll come back home. And Monty's like, I hate that, but look, I'm not going to be able to change your mind. Fine. Just stay safe, right? Just, you're still my daughter. I love you. Just be safe. And she's like, I will. And then she pulls out the spear that the family spear, and she's just like, I'm taking this. And then she walks off to go kill more cultists and kill more dragons. And we're kind of just like, all right, cool. Well, we killed the dragon that was fucking with your family for so long. I guess everything's good here. And that's kind of how the Heavensward job quest for Dragoon end. And now we're going to move into the Stormblood. The Stormblood ones are a little bit more different. So we talked to Alberic, and Alberic's like, oh, hey, Estinian's not hanging around Ishgard anymore. He must be traveling. That's pretty cool. Anyway, so look, here's the deal. I got a message. Actually, no, that's not him. It wasn't Alberic. It was Monty. Monty shows up. Monty's like, hey, I got a letter from my daughter. She's in the Chocobo Forest, and she's asking for you, the player character. And so the player character's like, okay, I'll go see her. So you go and you see her, and Hess is like, oh, hey, it's been a long time. So here's the deal. I've really got this thing under control. Like, it's really good. There's still a little bit of work I need to do. And I made a friend while I was trying to figure this out. And she points to this baby-looking dragon. The baby-looking dragon's name is Orn Kai. And Orn Kai tells us, like, oh, hey, yeah, I made friends with Hess here. And Hess has been trying to help me out with some stuff. Basically, the idea is my dad, back before the war started, had a consort. He had a lover. and he's from, so my dad is from one side of the war, and his consort is from the other side of the war. And now that the war is over, I was trying to find the consort so that I can have them reunited, because my dad's cool and I want my dad to be with his love. And so Hesse wrote to us asking us to be like, hey, can you come in and look after this dragon and help him find his dad's consort? I'm doing good, but like he's helped me out, so I kind of want to help him out. And so you go back to Alberic, and Alberic's like, oh, okay, here's what I can do. I will figure something out. So what Alberic ends up doing is he's compiled a whole bunch of stories about dragons and legends, and he hands them to us, being like, okay, here's everything I can find. Go and see Hess and see if she can kind of root out the one that might be useful, right? And so we go back to Hess, and Hess tells us, like, okay, yeah, so this story doesn't make sense. This story doesn't make sense. This story's not real. What about this one? And it talks about a sleeping worm, WYRM. And so what ends up happening is the sleeping worm lived in Giribania, which is like the outskirts of Alamigo. So we take Orm to the fringes, and there's a monk temple. So after investigating and killing some golems that we woke up, we meet up with Eric. Eric shows up. Eric is a character that was kind of prominent in the monk job quests, and part of that whole thing was like him and the monk guy came out to Alamigo, and so they're doing research in Giribania. Anyway, Eric tells us that the sleeping worm was this really powerful, really strong old monk that died 300 years ago. And so when we find that out, we tell Orm, and Orm's just like, oh, well, okay, it wasn't that one. There's got to be something else, right? So we go back to Albert. It's like, hey, none of these are coming true. And it's like, well, it just so happens there's been rumblings of some kind of dragon or something out in Kugane, which is the other side of the planet at this point. So we make our way there. And in a funny scene, we can't just bring a dragon onto a ship. So what ends up happening is Orn gets shipped in a crate filled with ice on the ship. So while we're taking the ride or whatever, he's just cargo. And so the next scene opens up with him being busted out of a crate and just being like, yo, it's sucked in there. Whatever, we're here. Let's get to work. So we head to the Ruby Sea because that's where stories of a dragon named Faunem, which I'm just going to call Fawn, is hanging out. So after talking to a bunch of fishermen, the idea is like, oh yeah, these fish, they find food that falls into the ocean, and it snatches it up and eats it whole, right? So we bait some water and we lure this dragon out, but it's not even a dragon, it's just a sea serpent. You kind of just take out a random monster, and Orange is kind of like, oh, that wasn't it. What else? And so we go back to Kugane, where Orn made friends with the Namazu. The Namazu just starts talking about like, oh yeah, no, there's this weird creature out in the Azim Steppe, right? It's so angry and like big and scaly, like it might be the guy you're looking for. And Orange is just like, well, we got no other leads to go with. Let's just go to the Azim Steppe. And we do. And we actually find the dragon that we're looking for. We find Fawn. Except Fawn is still hostile. Fawn's still in the war. War's over. Fawn's still fighting the war. And so we have to kind of like fend it off just to kind of like get away from it. Eventually, Orin tells us like, okay, well, we got to figure out some way to calm them down. That way I can explain to them that the war is over and that it's okay to go home. And that's when Estinian shows up. And Estinian's just like, oh yeah, dude. I mean, they were part of Nidhogg's group, right? Those dudes were just angry all the time. So probably what ended up happening is like they came over here looking for things to destroy or ways to breed and make more dragons to come over. I bet what we could do is if we could weaken it enough, you, Orn, can do a dragon roar, which will pierce the anger and kind of like clear its mind. So here's what we'll do. Me and the warrior, the player character, will fight it. And once it's ready, we're going to signal to you and you scream. Now, as we're doing that, the scream goes off, and the scream is good enough to like kind of momentarily like knock Fawn out of their hate rage, but more importantly, it causes Orn's father to show up. This other dragon named Vedder Folnir, which I'm just going to call Ved, and he shows up and he's able to roar louder, which can actually fully dispel the hate rage. And the quests end with this family being reunited, and yeah, that's it. They just the quests just end with you in the Asm step, kind of just like, hey, we did it. All right, cool. Well, time to move on to the next thing. So all of the job quests are done, minus maybe one that level 80, but that's not even a thing. That's more of just a wrap up for all the job quests. And I finally got to put on some armor. Like each of these, at the end of the quest series, you get like gear, right? You get your job gear for that expansion, and yeah, I finally got to put it on. This challenge is done, and that's 2 level 100 jobs out of like 30 something. Like we're finally making some progress. Up next will probably be White Major Dancer, because those are the closest ones I have next. But in the meantime, I'm gonna put up a chart of how everything has changed since the last time, and I'm looking forward to continuing this now that this sort of puts us on track to continue. Uh, if you are here watching, thank you so much. I'm trying to make these videos a little bit more entertaining. I'm trying to figure this out. I appreciate anybody that makes it to the end of the video. If you did, please leave a like, because you made it to the end. You have to have liked something. Please leave a like. I hope I see you in the next one.